Hi, everyone, and welcome to The Little Things, a conversation series about the small moments, gestures, and details that shape our days and leave an impression. Sometimes that's a quiet ritual, a handwritten note, a moment of connection, or a spark of creativity. This podcast is about those moments and the people who understand just how much they matter. Hi, everyone, and welcome to The Little Things, a conversation series about the small moments that connect us, shape us, and remind us what really matters. Today's guest is someone who has spent her entire career using art to tell stories, create connection, and invite people into unexpected moments. Casey Fremont is the executive director of the Art Production Fund, a female-run nonprofit that brings contemporary art out of galleries and into the real world. What I love most about Casey's story is how full circle it feels. She started at Art Production Fund as an intern and now as executive director. She leads with warmth, thoughtfulness, and a real focus on human experience. At its heart, Casey's work is about storytelling and how art, when woven into everyday life, can create connection in the most unexpected ways, which makes her the perfect guest for The Little Things. Welcome, Casey.
Hi, Jen. Nice to see you.
Good to see you on this bi-coastal morning. I'm in North Carolina. You're in LA.
It's exactly wonderful. It's amazing to connect. Yeah.
So you grew up surrounded by art. Your father was in the art business. I mean, I'm sure that your whole world was centered around art. You had artists around you, artists in your home. How did that foster your passion for studying and pursuing this wonderful career?
Well, yes. So I did grow up around art and artists, and really art and artists being the most important thing in my life, you know, from birth. And it's interesting because, of course, like any child, I rebelled initially, and my sister and I were just totally, bored at museums. We tortured my parents through many museums, complaining and dreading it and wondering why we always had to go see art in any country we were in, any city we were in. They always found a museum somehow, and we were always just so annoying. And then I ended up, really deciding that this was something that I wanted to do. I entered college with a declared art history major. And what I've realized over time is that, it's interesting when people sort of go into the family business. Now it's just nepotism and it's nepo babies, and they're sort of just frowned upon. But really what I think it is that these are the values that are instilled in you from a young age, right? So whatever you're surrounded by growing up and whatever your parents and your family and your, entire world is sort of prioritizing, you really do see the value in that. And I think it's actually an interesting thing when people are continuing in the world that they're surrounded by growing up. And that's what I've ended up doing. And yeah, it's been amazing. It's just, my work is my life. I think a lot of people in the art world feel, because they're just so extremely and completely intertwined.
I agree. I think it really is a testament to your family and the passion that your parents shared with you about art and the art world, and it shouldn't be looked at as a negative. It's continuing a legacy of passion around art and whatever industry it is. It's nepo baby shouldn't be a negative. It should be you're carrying on a family legacy, and that can be viewed in a lot of different capacities. But you really have learned the business from life, right? I mean, you know a lot.
Absolutely. And I think it is a positive. It means that you've been raised with certain values and you have such a deep belief in those values, and prioritizing whatever the world, the business world that you've been exposed to. And I think it's kind of cool. And it's become negative. But if you think about the way that over time, people have continued family businesses since the beginning, it's what they're exposed to. It's what they value. It's what they learn. Anyway, but it's been it's not without hard work and dedication.
That's right. And I know your parents are still along for the journey. So do they love being kind of on the other side of this experience and sharing it with you?
I think so. I mean, I think it's really fun when they can come to, of course, the gala and be with their friends and my friends, and those worlds collide all the time. It's always great because, I'll constantly reach out to them for advice and, run through scenarios with them and be like, is this okay? Like, here's what's happening. Do you think this is all right? They're very old school art world, artist forward people. Like, they came from a different time in the art world also, I think. So they have this real true blue kind of dedication to the art and the artists. And so I really do trust and value their read on situations and their opinions on situations. So I often will, for me, it's great because I have this sounding board that I really trust and I appreciate. Yeah.
That's table talk, right? And I'm sure that it warms their heart to like still be involved because, through you. That's special.
Yeah, and is still involved. I mean, they are out there in the art world. My father's definitely still, he's a, very trusted Warhol expert, so he is constantly being asked questions. And I also really recognize that like the oral history from that time is so important because as things become more popular, people have, claim ownership over them or claim to know what really happened. And the people who were there need to make sure that the story is told correctly. He's an important role.
I love that. Great frame of reference for you. And, there's so much in social media and clips and this and that, but he lived the real experience.
Yeah, they both did. They fully were there and they kind of know all the players and deeply, deeply woven into that world, which is fascinating. I mean, it was a different time, and it was certainly a different time in the art world and the whole world, but yeah.
You started at Art Production Fund as an intern, and now you lead the organization. When you think back, is there a moment or support or encouragement from someone that you interacted with early on that encouraged you to continue your career there?
I mean, for sure, all along the way, Doreen and Yvonne, the co-founders, were incredibly supportive and offered opportunity. And the whole time, it was being such a small team, I think I was able to do so much that if I were in a bigger company, I never would have had access to, just out of necessity, because you kind of it's all hands on deck. And I have to say also, it's always been different. Like every project is different. Every scenario, we have all new challenges. So it's never been boring ever at any point because it's just forever evolving and changing. I think starting as an intern, it really was my dream job. It was really one of these situations where I interned when I was 16 and then I interned again when I was in college. And I was madly in love with everything about Art Production Fund. And I remember, every paper in college, it would be like referencing an Art Production Fund project. And I was just obsessed and I loved it so much. And so moving from intern to actually working there really was so exciting. And then now it's just been like almost 22 years. And I'm like, from when I started full time, and I'm like, I don't know where the time went really, but it's been so great. It's been really, it's been really wonderful. And I think it's also rare that people stay in a position or at a company for so long now. Sort of a retro idea now.
I love it because you can see it grow. You've been there every day. Every project, every day has to be a little bit different. It can't be boring. It's not mundane. Interacting with all the different artists and things that you have on the horizon have to be so interesting that it's easy to see the longevity because you've been there for so long. You see this growth and evolution.
Yeah, and I really am so deeply in it. At a certain point, you're in so deep, you're like, how could I, it's like your baby. And also, I've been able to grow in my role. So, from intern, then, project manager, and then I was director of operations. And then when Doreen and Yvonne, about 10 years ago, left, they started another business and they, left me in the leadership role. And so I've also been able to grow. And I think that's, of course, helped with staying at the company longer, which has been amazing. It's my position has changed even within this small company, but it's been really great. It's a great place to work, and I love my team. And yeah.
We've talked about your team. You're a very female-based business. What lessons has that taught you about working with primarily females? I think it's really empowering, and sharing not only your work, but sort of life's journeys, having kids, getting married. How is that intertwined into the culture at APF and what you guys see and how you consider life based on being a female-founded business?
Yeah, I think that women are, of course, we all know this, so capable and wonderful to work with. And I've been fortunate enough to work with so many incredible women along the way. And I think something that I was exposed to early on with the co-founders was this idea of balancing work and family. And of course, there's never a perfect balance or solution. There's no way to ever feel like you're giving one or the other enough of your time. But with that aside, I do think that I was exposed early on as a 20-something to an environment that was very much like, you will be dedicated to your work and you work hard and you get your job done, but you also equally can be a parent, and can be afforded that flexibility and that time. And then as I started my own family, and it was sort of similar, and I think even I have, my 4 kids over like 12 years, and I think even the way that, the workplace has evolved in that time from my first to my last, and how I sort of handled maternity leave and dealt with all of the normal things that when you have a baby you have to deal with. I think that it set a groundwork for prioritizing family, prioritizing this shared multifaceted life that many women and many parents lead. So I think it was a great way to sort of start a career with that exposure and that example set.
I think balance is such an interesting word because I don't think anyone ever strikes balance. It's some things take precedent at certain times, others things at other family, but women are amazing. I think we can do it all and do it all gracefully and do it all effectively. I often hear, when I hear people on the news or read stories balance is so hard because you're never going to strike the perfect, right? As a woman, I think we always feel like we're letting someone down or we're not, but we're capable of doing it all and doing it all well. And it's just, I feel like sometimes there are things that take priority or more time, but it doesn't lessen what's going on over here.
Totally. And I think I think what will help is like a shift in the mindset from, society where we were sort of, I think for many years, it's been sort of like, don't mention your kids, don't talk about don't ever make it seem difficult because otherwise you'll be questioned, your capabilities will be questioned. And now I think it's more hopefully shifting towards celebrating when people have, other aspects to their life than just work. And I think that that's a shift I've seen in my career. So hopefully it'll continue trending that way, where it's like, it's not a secret that you have to go to your kids' concert at the most inconvenient hour of the day, always,
At the most inconvenient time of the year. Like,
yes.
Times when everything's just like, a good flow.
Yeah.
You would have time for that and it would be easy, but not that it's never planned that way. It's like,
no, definitely do it
30 things.
Middle of the day, where you have to leave wherever you are. It always works out that way. And it should be okay, especially now that we're all working from our phones and we're expected to be available 24/7 basically.
Yeah. I feel like even now in my life, my kids are older, they're out of the house. There are days when I'm like, wow, I don't have that much today. And then there are the days when every single thing happens at the same time. Like 10 things that are equally as important to me happen within the same 2-hour period. I'm like, who do I say yes to? What do I know? What am I doing? How does this happen? There were 4 days in a row when I felt, wow, I had nothing right now. And then boom, everything.
It's crazy. It's really a wild, yeah. And we figure it out.
We do. As you're now 25 years under your belt at APF, not 25 at APF for you, but APF has celebrated 25 years.
Yeah.
You're a mom. Your kids are growing. You're not in the super little phase anymore. Are there things that you would share with young female creatives that are early in their career to encourage and to foster their growth in the industry?
I think the best advice, listen, everyone's journey is totally different also. So with that said, because I always hesitate to give any advice, I feel like everyone has an opinion. But I think the best thing that you can do is to show up. Like, go to the cocktail parties, go to the openings, go to the whatever, take the meeting, have the conversation. Building your network from like the jump is so important, because those are the relationships that you're going to carry with you and are going to lead to things and opportunities you don't even know what over time. So to me, I think being out there, being, willing to say yes, and even when you do not feel like going out and you don't feel like getting dressed and getting out the door, which so many of us do all the time.
Guilty.
Just do it. Yeah. I feel like that's when things happen. I always, and I even tell myself this now, knowing that this is always the right decision. Like, obviously you need to protect your space and have boundaries and all of that. But I even will be like, I'm just going to go. You never know who you're going to sit with, who you're going to meet, who you're going to talk to. I think showing up is really, really important. I think a good work ethic is like, you're already several steps ahead of others. Commitment, loyalty, all of those things I think go really, really far. And that's something that, I certainly have learned from my father, who has dedicated his entire life and career to Andy Warhol. And I saw that example being set, and sort of, you go hard for who you go hard for, and you're, committed to them. So I think loyalty, trust, truth telling, like all of these things are such simple concepts that really do make a difference in your career.
That's right. And those are foundational, easy things that everyone can achieve, right? I tell my kids, show up, be on time, be kind, work hard. Like, these are the basic things that they don't require extraordinary talent, but they set you up for incredible success. Consistent.
Absolutely.
Just being that person who can be relied on and trusted is invaluable, because some people just don't, maybe it just doesn't occur to them to care that much. And I think caring in your job and in your friendships and your relationships and about your family it goes so far.
It goes so far. It's such an important quality.
And I always said, you know what, a teacher, and God bless them, can teach my kids multiplication and grammar and all that. I don't want to do that. I want to teach them to be good people and to have a work ethic and to be kind and to include everyone. That's my job.
Oh, for sure.
Go there.
No, I just had this conversation with my son, and he was, I was talking to him about how he had treated someone, and then, he was talking about his grades, and his grades are great. And I was like, the grades mean nothing if you don't know how to have a relationship and treat people well. Like, you can excel in school. Social skills are really important. And the way you treat people, of course, and the way you navigate the world. So I think, yes, as parents, oh my gosh, it's so hard to be a parent. And I think from what I can tell so far, it gets so much harder as they get older. And you just want them to be their best self. It's really hard.
It ebbs and flows. I'm on the other side of age-wise of kids. It ebbs and flows. It gets easy, then it gets hard, then it gets easier, then it gets harder, and you're like, wow, My oldest is graduating from college in a few weeks, and there's so much to be celebrated there, but then there's so much, he's considering so much, and he's laboring on all these decisions and worried, and I'm like, wow, I thought this was going to be like the box. We're graduating.
Right. So
we're on to the next. And now it's like, well, what about this? What about that? So it has.
Yeah. And It doesn't end. I'm in my 40s and I'm on the phone with my mother as I said, it's just, it's forever, which is great.
Which is a gift, right? I
Yeah,
want to be that parent. You want to be that parent who, and your parents are that way, that are still involved in your life and that you can have evolving adult relationships with, and it really feels natural, right? It's a
totally.
natural, trusted source. And I'm hoping that my husband and I, are that for our kids. And, it's a new journey. There's no roadmap now. I don't have school to guide me with this. This is all new. So, fun time.
It's so much. It is fun and it is so hard, but you're doing amazing. Look how far you've gotten. It's amazing. That's a lot to celebrate.
It is. It's crazy though. Time.
It goes so fast.
They get older and I don't.
Of course. It's so wild. It's amazing how that happens too.
So you guys have a rotating installation at Rockefeller Center, one of the most recognizable spots in the country, arguably the world. How do you know when the project is worth backing and installing and ready for Rockefeller Center?
What's been amazing about Art in Focus, which is the program's name at Rock Center, is we have had artists at all stages of their career shown there. And it's sort of who makes sense for the space and who's willing to take on this very unique, very specific series of locations. Mm-hmm. So it's murals and it's very shallow vitrines that are quite specific. So it all kind of is that like perfect harmony. When everything comes together in perfect harmony, we know that it's going to be great. And we've been fortunate enough to work with these incredible artists. And I think for the artist, the opportunity to have their work in this iconic, landmarked, incredible deco space is super unique, of course, and really exciting. I think most of the artists can't believe that this many people are going to be seeing their work, and kind of it's been woven into people's lives in such an interesting way. So it's such a cool program. It's something that we've done now for 7 years. Yeah, 7 years. I can never remember. It's been amazing. We do them every few months. They change, and we have a children's program that we also weave into it. So it's been really great. I think Rockefeller Center, as a born and raised New Yorker, is one of my favorite parts of the city. It's where I tell everyone to go. I think it's the perfect balance of idealized kind of New York energy, but also beautiful architecture and scale. And I love it so much. So and it is the location. The first Art Production Fund office when I was interning was in 30 Rock. So I have this very deep connection, to love this, meaning this being the goal, the epicenter of professional life. I would take the subway up and back down, and I loved that commute to Midtown. So it's a very special place for me. And I think working with artists there and giving them that opportunity is so exciting and rewarding and super cool, because some of these artists have never exhibited in New York City, and certainly not at that scale. So it's been great.
I had an experience in St. Louis with a public art project. We did something, 52 butterfly sculptures decorated by 52 different artists, sponsored by 52 different businesses, and ultimately we displayed them in the city, had a gala, auctioned them off. I have a little bitty tiny understanding about how hard it is to produce, or complex it is to produce a public art project. I know it's harder than people think. What are the logistics behind producing art projects on the scale that you do? And even at Rockefeller Center, that has to be complicated.
It's always complicated. Yes. And that sounds very ambitious. More artists, more coordination. There's never one formula, which makes it even more challenging to do these public projects, because it's always a new location, it's always a new medium, fabrication technique, installation technique. So there's never a formula. But I will say It requires so much thinking on your feet, so much problem solving, pivoting, like rethinking things, reworking things. I think flexibility in this position is super important because otherwise we would be stuck. You know, we would not, nothing would get done. All of these projects have had wild twists and turns, even, you know, and I will say, like, when you are working on Center Plaza at Rockefeller Center and you're dealing with a little bit of maybe like troubleshooting, it's like the one of the world's like largest public, like most public stages, and like it's no big deal, no pressure. It's only like in the background of the Today Show opening shots every day. You know, like there's so much pressure in that sort of high profile space. I don't know. It's always something. We worked through like the pandemic, you know, and got Sanford Bigger's Oracle up. And that felt like a real amazing accomplishment. When we did freeze projects last year, we were working, you know, it was exactly when all the fires in LA happened. And we were mainly working with LA based artists. So we were sort of challenged with how this would impact everyone's process and how do we get through that. But we got through it. I think it requires, flexibility, determination, lots of creative problem solving and thinking. And it is so much work. The simplest thing, as you know, it looks so simple. And then there's always something that makes it a little bit less
I think
simple.
that's fun though, because like, I mean, every day, every hour, you're overcoming these little challenges. It's like, okay, we'll fix it. It's like you're on fire all the time and it works. And you just, at the end of the day, are like, we did it.
Yeah.
It has to
And
be.
it's so great.
Yeah, it's great. And, you know, it's like the masterpiece. Nobody sees the behind the scenes. It's like, it looks like, oh, that just appeared overnight. And it was
Totally. No, it's amazing. It's amazing when that happens, when people are like, oh, it was so easy. And I'm like, it was so easy, which is great because it should look effortless. But behind the scenes, we're all, you know, sweating and making it happen. Somebody, an art handler once, I was like, it'll be easy, right? And he was like, straightforward. That's a good correction. Yeah. Now I'm always like, it's straightforward.
So you have done multiple installations in many locations. And I think one of the most special things is how art affects people, right? And the emotions behind it and people's interpretation at all different levels. Has there been a time when you've seen one of your projects or someone else's or any piece of art spark an unexpected connection between strangers, families, or even within yourself?
Yes. There's one specific situation that is related to a project that we did with an artist named Yvette Mattern, who created a project named A Global Rainbow. And it was after Sandy. And it was a series of rainbow laser beams that were pointed towards the Rockaways that had been hit so hard by Sandy. Mm-hmm. And so it was a project that came together very quickly, and it was really meant to give hope after such incredible destruction. Mm-hmm. And it was up for a couple of weeks, and it would go on every night. And my sister said that somebody who she knew, who had just been diagnosed with cancer, found out some really heavy news, was walking home and saw the rainbow and was given a sense of hope. It they happened upon it and it gave them this sense of hope. And she told me that she was like, she told Austin because she knew that was my sister and didn't know what the project was about, I don't think, but just saw it. And when I heard this story, I was like, God, that's so amazing, because what's incredible about public art is that you really approach it, you make these projects happen with the understanding that most of the people who are going to see them will have no idea what they're about and won't necessarily have any art historical background, but they shouldn't need that to feel something. And I think that was a great example of just coming upon this piece on their way home from work and taking something away from it that was quite powerful. And, I think that's incredible. And I also feel like there are other projects that have been on view that, whether people like them or hate them, and now with social media, we can really get feedback readily available, which is so great. It actually is incredible for public art because otherwise you don't really know what people are saying other than what you hear or what's in the press. So you get real-time feedback. And so whether they love it or they hate it, I do think that some of the most insightful comments and observations about art and public art come from people who have no background in art history or, aren't in the art world. And I always think that the purity of those observations are so incredible. And it feels like that's a real win for the project when you read something online or, hear something and like, I had never thought of that, but that's so true. Like that really will get under your skin. That's something that really gets under your skin about this project, or that's something that makes you really happy about this project. Or that's why, somebody hates the project. And I'm like, I never would have even have taken that from it, but wow. And the conversation that it brings up, I think it's great. It's powerful. Art is really powerful. It really can get people going, which it should, either good or bad.
Well, and these are people who are having experience and interaction with your projects that may never step into a museum. Like you said, don't know the history or the intention behind the art, but they're getting a feeling and sharing it because social media, it's so easy, which is kind of cool, right? Like
great.
You wouldn't know the reaction if it was just placed in a gallery or, not a shared space.
Well, and I think people wouldn't necessarily seek it out. Certainly galleries are designed to be intimidating, right? That's true. Museums can sometimes have a cost for entry, and that's a barrier that people have to get through. They also have to want to go and make the effort to go there. And sometimes if people feel like it's not a place for them, they just won't.
Right.
And public art is the opposite. You're walking home from work, you're, driving on the highway and you come across something and you're like, what is this? And you have access to it and you can form an opinion. It's great. I mean, I just think the more that can be in the world, the better, because it's a way for us to come together, to have conversation, to react to contemporary life, certainly. And it's so important.
And you've mentioned two cultural moments or two moments in our history, Sandy and COVID. And I'm sure there are countless others that your art has brought bright spots, impact, and challenges, right? That it's all sort of intertwined in our history and our kind of place in time.
Oh, absolutely. And it's always a reflection or a response to contemporary events in life and what everyone's feeling. I mean, artists' work throughout history has been a reaction to that, and it can, studying history through art is also a fascinating way to look at the world and what was going on at those different times. And I'm certain that we'll look back at the projects that were done during the various periods and see connections to what the events of the time were. But I think in all those situations, it felt, especially in LA, I think with the projects after the fires, it felt so important that we continued and gave people the opportunity to gather in public spaces and collectively experience something, which is also really important right now where everyone's doing everything online. Go experience something in person and have that experience together.
Right, that shared experience. Get out of your, I think that's an important movement always, get out of your world, get out of your house, go interact, go experience life. Because we're so programmed to get in your car, do this, get on your phone, get in your social, get on your streaming television, whatever you're watching, go experience something. Yeah. You're doing something incredibly thought-provoking, because just think, that sparks a conversation versus what you're watching on TV. What series are you watching? It's did you see this? I love it.
Yeah, and you're doing that alone. There are so many options to do things alone or experience life through your phone and scrolling Instagram and looking at what other people are doing. And it's so important that we take a moment, get together, go do something. Yeah,
It's so fulfilling.
it really is.
Has there been a project? I know Prada, Marfa, and Seven Magic Mountains have become really a lot, a lot and a part of so many people's personal stories. Is there one moment from either one of those that was really kind of like a wow moment, or is one more Instagrammable than the other in our world today?
Well, okay. Prada Marfa opened before Instagram.
Wow.
It was a Facebook era project. So things definitely changed when social media started and people started posting it. Yes. It's interesting to, okay, I'll speak to both of them because it's been really fascinating. Okay, Prada Marfa happened. It was definitely newsworthy. It was lots of press. People knew about it. Now people are like, I want to go to Marfa to see Prada Marfa. And I'm like, oh my God, it's so much more than Prada Marfa. Like Donald Judd, Shinati, like there's such a rich art historical history that was there far before that I think people don't even realize, frankly. They just know it as for Prada Marfa, which is fascinating and amazing and so cool because it's just building on important art historical moments. But that was something I think never could have been predicted because we didn't understand even what Instagram and like this viral image world was going to look like. So, wow, right? Shocking. And it at one point was threatened to be taken down because it was being questioned as being advertising for Prada, and that's not allowed in Texas. After, and this was interesting because it brought up a very important art historical concept, which is like the impetus for the project wasn't driven by Prada, it was driven by the artists. And so conceptually had nothing to do with advertisement, but more with commentary on consumerism. And it was able to be deemed it was given museum status so that it was allowed to stay. So there are all these interesting kind of conversations that have come up as a result of it within the context of the world. And those are very sort of heavy, conceptual art conversations within like the pop culture world. Anyway, whatever. It stayed. It's been great. It's more famous than ever on Instagram. Seven Magic Mountains was supposed to be up for 2 years initially. That was the agreed upon land lease. And it's been up on May 11th. It will be 10 years that it's remained on view. It's constantly maintained and painted. And when we were like first working on it, I think the parking lot was built for like 10 cars. We're like, that's so many cars. Like don't worry. There will be no problem here. We've got this covered. Maybe it wasn't even 10. It was like 5 at a time. Seven Magic Mountains is visited by like an average of 1,000 people a day, sometimes more, like during big Las Vegas weekends, which is so many people when you think about it. And so I was just out there actually a few weeks ago, and it was a Tuesday morning at like 9 a.m. and there were so many people there. And I just am in awe of it's now a destination. It's like broken through niche art world for sure. Again, I don't think people really even know the artist's name. It's Ugo Rondinone, but I don't think it's about seeing this cultural moment. And it's like broken into like pop culture moments. Like Lego included it in this like F1 thing. I think, and like Prada Marfa was on The Simpsons. Like it's so amazing that they've become this pop culture like icons, and it's just crazy. It's wild.
It's
very cool.
Reaching. And you're exactly right. When people say they want to go to Marfa, it's to see Prada Marfa. And
yeah.
You're breaking through. Just think about all the reasons people go to Vegas, and you're getting that many people a day off the Vegas Strip and out of the shows and all of that to see a piece of incredible public art, right? I mean, who could have planned for? I think what's so neat is you plan for one thing and then it grows, right?
Yes. You don't ever know what it's going to become. And I think it's exceeded everyone's expectations.
It's really interesting to me because, my husband's a commercial developer and he came from a real estate family. So you're not only bringing out and placing public art. You're talking about land leases and parking and restrictions and ordinances and all of those things that you contend with just to bring these pieces to life. And every situation I know is different because that's part of the real estate world, but the hurdles that you go through to get these items, these projects placed is so interesting because it's not just I'm in art and I do.
Oh no.
It's like you're hitting the landscape of so many different sectors.
Oh yeah, we're speaking the, government policy language with artists and trying to bridge those two places, and then also like maybe throw in like a corporate sponsor who has their own reasons for getting involved. And it's about navigating all of those relationships and convincing all of them that it's worthwhile for everyone to put resources towards this project that there's going to be guaranteed zero financial gain on. So there is zero like dollar return on your investment, but you're contributing to the cultural landscape in such an important way that it's necessary. So it's really like getting everyone on board, getting those permissions in place, jumping through every possible hoop, and convincing people. You're selling people on an idea that will guarantee not make them any money, which is hugely challenging. But
it's a win-win.
The right partners get it. You just have to get it.
It really is about the impact and not the return. But the return comes in a different value, right? The return
100%.
The form of a different value, which is priceless, right?
For sure. And so high value. It's so important. And I think more and more people are recognizing that art is something to invest in beyond the commercial art world. Mm-hmm. But I think it's taken time. And I think projects like Prada, Marfa, and Seven Magic Mountains have certainly helped with that argument because people do see the impact in terms of attendance and cultural contribution.
And both of those have stood the test of time. This isn't a short impact, it's a long-lasting impact, which is great for your investors and supporters to see.
For sure. And they like children, they still require lots of attention and care and support. and they still cost a lot. No, just like children.
Exactly. They'll need support. Well, your work is about creating these experiences that bring people together. And your annual APF Gala does just that. You, Kathleen, your team, your sister Austin have struck the perfect balance of magical energy and fundraiser. I've been so fortunate to attend the gala for the past couple of years. It's an amazing night. It's so much fun. This year's theme was Après Chalet, and you walked in and the ice bar set the tone for what was, of course, going to be a fabulous night with your special touches all over it. And one of my favorite things in the evening always is the outfits. The outfits don't disappoint. On theme, there was everything from Montclair gowns to chic ski gear to fur hats and then some. I love standing on the balcony and kind of looking down and seeing like what's going on, who's wearing what, Those are all your special touches. And in my mind, that's what turns it from a financial fundraiser, boring chicken dinner, to a memorable event that people are so excited to be attending and the buzz that the night really is. What do you love? What are your favorite things about building that evening, and how do you feel when people in the room are like lit up to be there?
Well, it's the best feeling in the world because it means that we've done well. That's all we want. We want people to be having fun. So if people are having fun, and it's successful, great. That's it. I, as we all have, gone to many, many galas, fundraisers, dinners that you sit through, and it's endless speeches, and it's not great food, and people are just not having much fun. And I think Art Production Fund's event has always been known to be fun first. And we've evolved the concept. Okay, so in the gala world, there's a little bit of a formula, right? Like you have honorees, those people are asked to tap into their networks to buy tables and tickets and support the event. It expands the network of the organization a little bit. I get it. What we realized after doing that for many years was that it became a really big ask for the people who were being honored. Mm-hmm. So decided to switch the formula a little bit, really focus on there was always a theme, but really like focus on the theme, make it about this theme. We don't have a development department, but sell the tables and tickets ourselves. These are relationships that we've built. We are fortunate to have so many great supporters, so many fashion brands that have been longtime supporters of Art Production Fund, and our, fashion support has continued to grow. Tap into those partnerships and just make it a really fun event. We keep speeches to a minimum. Everyone knows why they're there. For those who don't, we give a short introduction with some key points about our production fund so they understand what they're supporting, but generally keep it really minimal. And we try to focus on letting people have a fun hosted table so their guests can all talk. Everyone can have a delicious meal. That we have our dear friend and board member, Sarah Hoover. We collaborate on the menu with her. So it's always going to be delicious and interesting and unexpected and on theme. And then we spend an entire year obsessing over every single little detail that we can think of that will make the event fun. And we do work with my sister's production company, and Fremont Blue Events is like an incredible partner on the gala, because being that she's my sister, she knows that she has to execute flawlessly or she'll never stop hearing about it. And they have they have a similar kind of like attention to detail that we do, and know that every detail of the event has to be carefully considered and have a really good time. And it's really a challenge every year, but this year really was a lot of fun. And yeah, we don't want it to just fit into the same mold of a gala, every other night that people go to, especially in New York. You're going to like 4 of these a week. Right. And I understand people are being hit up all the time and asked to buy tables and tickets and for, whatever reason. So let's make it fun for them. Like, you've already bought the table. You deserve to have a good time. And we want to say thank you to our supporters, not like welcome to a dry chicken dinner.
Well, and one thing that I love to see, because I've been on your side where I've been a host and a chair of many events. I love to see you and Kathleen really having a good time, because I'm sure that you're, in the back of your mind, you're looking around, but you've pre-planned, everything is planned flawlessly, and you're also able to kind of enjoy and celebrate Art Production Fund, your supporters, your friends who are there, people who are learning about it for the first time. When the hosts look like they're having a great time, I think that's the sign of a perfectly executed event.
I think it's really important, right? That you set the tone as a host and you let people feel like they're allowed to have fun, that it isn't just a stuffy work event. And yeah, at a certain point also, we're like, we've done all we can.
Right.
We have analyzed these seats. We have now we just have to hope that everyone has fun. Yeah, we take it really seriously. We work really, really hard on that event, everyone involved, and hopefully shows. I think people have a good time.
It definitely shows. And I'm already looking forward to next year, and I would love when you decide the theme, let me know, because I want to work on my outfit. Because I was in awe of some of the looks this year. I was like, dang, that was good. Like, wow, there were some on point après looks. Yeah. It's really fun.
It's always fun to see what people wear, and people, do look forward to the theme. It's fun. It's fun to think of wacky ideas that we can bring into the event also and push limits. Yeah. And the bar was really fun. The
Marfa,
frozen, yeah, the shots, the
fondue,
shot skis.
the shot skis. Oh, I love that. The shot skis. I wanted to get a
It's
picture and show my
fun.
kids how cool I was that I was doing a shot ski.
Well, yeah, it's fun. I know. My kids are like, "When can we go?" I'm like, "When you can work at the
Yeah.
event."
When you can work and you're not adding
Yeah.
stress to my night.
Yeah, like when I'm not watching you. Yeah.
Exactly. So, I mean, I have a long list of favorite APF things, but one of them, of course, is Art Sunday because I think anytime that you can bring young people in to an experience without it feeling like they're being taught something, it's more experiential. I think that's a huge win. And introducing kids to art appreciation and involving them in projects is impactful without even, with almost intention, but it feels natural to them. It feels like a natural interaction. Tell me about Art Sunday. How did it come about and how has it expanded?
Well, Art Sunday started because one of my friends, Carolyn Angel, and I were spending all this time with our kids over the weekend, always looking for activities. And we were like, okay, what if we created some sort of art program that was free? And we were like, yes, okay, this is great. Now it's evolved. And then it was like, okay, so tying this into the mission of Art Production Fund, okay, so what does that look like? Well, we could, if we partner artists and kids to create and collaborate on a public project, that is a really great way to build confidence, have them see firsthand the power of creating something, and then having it on view. We all know how kids are so proud when you hang an artwork on your fridge, right? So let's, supersize that and do something that's out in the world and let them see what contributing to, everyday people's everyday lives looks like. So the basic concept of Art Sunday is that, and it's such a confusing name because it's not always on a Sunday. It's like Art Sunday, like ice cream Sunday, but we're committing to it. We consider it a rebrand, but we're committed.
No, I like
But
it.
the reason for the Art Sunday name is that it's like an ice cream sundae. It's about all different types of kids coming together to work on something that is really perfect. Like what makes a sundae beautiful and delicious is all the differences. So this wasn't about targeting a certain community or going into a certain community and doing something. It was about inviting everyone to come together and work side by side collectively. So that was a really important initial concept of Art Sunday. And then, this idea of looking at an artist's practice. Some artists are working with glass, some artists are working with ceramic, some are painters, looking at their practice and how do we translate that practice into a program that kids can create something that then becomes a small part of a bigger project. And so we do it a lot at Rockefeller Center with the artists in the Art in Focus program because we have this incredible window that's on the South Plaza of Rockefeller Plaza, which is like so high profile, so visible. And the kids work on these incredible installations. And over time, we've learned a lot about what works and what doesn't and how to set ourselves up for success in the ultimate, the installation that ultimately goes on view and give kids a unique experience, working with and experimenting with different materials. But all inspired by the artist's work. The artist is there so the kids can have conversations with the artist. They can see the artist's work installed at Rockefeller Center. I think it's important for obviously kids to be exposed to art making, the power of art, but then also this idea of contributing to something that's beyond your own possession and holding on. There are kids for sure that want to hold on to their art, and we of course allow that if that's what they want to do. But I think it's the idea of sort of saying, okay, I created something and now I'm going to have it on view, not just for my own, pride, but because I'm contributing to the world and in a powerful way, the way that art and public art does. So it's a program that really has many different great, advantages to it, which I think we've seen over and over again. And it's really exciting. And it's a really young program that's totally growing, and we learn from and we adjust and constantly tweak. But it's built such great momentum. We've done them now, not only in New York, but in LA and in Dallas, and hopefully other cities soon, but it's something we really are focused on growing. I think it's need-based also right now, as you know, arts education is the first thing to be cut from budgets. So just giving people the opportunity to have access to a free program, hopefully we'll do them more and more, I think is really important.
I would love to help you guys bring that to somewhere near me. You never know where I am, but I'd like to I'd like to help you bring that project to St. Louis or North Carolina or Florida. That would be really fun and something fulfilling for me to be a part of. So if there's ever an opportunity, don't forget me.
Absolutely. Thank you.
I love seeing you bring your kids to museums and to view art and involving them in the projects that you're a part of and your world. Do they ever have funny or thought-provoking observations? Because I'm sure, just like you said, when you were begrudgingly going to everything art-related with your parents, are they like, oh, this again?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. They are very reluctant to go, more and more with age. When they're little, it's so cute, and you can just bring them. And like I would do like I Spy games, and they would play along with it, and they were fine. Now that they're older, it's more of a challenge. But what I've decided is that every weekend they're required to do something like a cultural thing. And anyone in the family can contribute to fill the suggestion box and make a suggestion of where they want to go. But it has to be something that isn't like, it has to be in some way cultural and interesting or relevant to the city, Right. Anyway, no one else has come up with any ideas, but I have programmed our weekends to have at least one thing. And I think it's really important, even if they hate it and they're pouting and I have to listen to them complain, they're still going to be forced to do it. And ultimately they store it in their brain. Like they are exposed to it. You never know when they're going to have a frame, like reference it in some way. When I was a kid, I was lucky enough to go to Murano, Italy, where all the beautiful Murano glass is made. And years later, my father worked with Martin Kippenberger on these lamps. They were resin lamps, and in them, it was a different time, but in them were like cigarette butts, like the foil from the cigarette packs, the lighters that were colorful. And my parents had a lighter one with the lighter, and it was like sort of decorative resin with the lighters in it. And I said to my mom, "Oh, it looks like Murano glass." And she was like, "Yeah, hello. You had that stored in your brain because you were exposed to it reluctantly. And now you have some, visual reference." And I think that sort of thing happens a lot, I feel like, with my kids, and it feels like a real win and worth all the whining. So I'll continue to do it.
I support that. And through all that complaining, and eventually, it does turn into appreciation, right?
Yes.
They have to find something to complain about. If it wasn't that, it would be something, making their bed or taking the dog out, whatever.
Or all of the above. Why stop at one? It's everything. So it's like, yes, and it is this idea of this is what in our family we value. We want you to see this, and maybe they won't end up in the art world, or maybe they will, but at least they have some context for what we prioritize. And it's important that they are exposed to culture and seeing art, and there are really amazing shows to go see, and that represent all different types of people. It's so important.
And I think exposing your young mind to those kinds of things, whether they're aware in the moment or not, opens up your mind to interpret, appreciate, and kind of recognize things, and will influence your decision making, influence your consideration. It's just all about building a well-rounded human and someone who can see things from multiple lenses, right?
Absolutely.
And art is a very, very important part of that.
For sure.
You have two very full-time jobs, right? One as a mother and one as the head of APF. What are the little things that you do for yourself that help you stay connected, centered, and kind of in focus?
Sane. No. Well, yes. I love what I've realized I love is going to exercise class, one specific one, which is Silver Springs in LA, and it's such a great hot Pilates class, and you just sweat and detox and feel amazing afterwards. And I love it for many reasons, but I think when you are somebody who's constantly making decisions and constantly figuring things out and constantly telling people where they need to be and what they need to do, and, you know, always just all the time, you know, puzzling things together, nothing feels better than going into a workout class where somebody is just telling you step by step what to do. It's like so great. While it's physically exhausting, you're using no energy to make decisions. And I think that's why I love it so much. Like, it's just the greatest mental break and, you know, physical work. It's so great. So I think that really helps me stay sane. And it is important to take that time for yourself. Like, no question, it's not, you know, frivolous or, you know, I think it's whatever, in whatever form, you know, I love walking. I love, you know, just listening to a podcast and like walking down the street or being the only person in LA who walks anywhere. I love it. I think it's so important that we give ourselves like time to not make decisions. And I, for the longest time, I was like, why do I not like working out at home? Like, why can't I just put on I don't know. Oh my God, no, I need somebody to tell me what to do. And I am not somebody who would want to work out with a personal trainer because that also feels like social, you know?
100%. I love Pilates class because exactly why you said. Someone's telling you what to do. You can't multitask. You can't think about anything else because you're thinking about these positions and the da-da-da.
And it's so hard.
It's hard. And same thing with walking. Like, I can walk, be on my phone, have a conversation, be texting, be Googling, be answering a question, be planning dinner, you can do 25 things when you walk.
Oh, yeah.
You really have to be on your game when you're walking because otherwise you're, you know, solving the world's problems during your workout.
No, we need to fully no phones in the room. It's a great rule.
It is a great rule.
It's so, for 1 hour, we can do that. So I really prioritize that. And that feels like a real gift to myself.
It makes you a better mom, makes you more patient, makes you a better wife, makes you focus. I think we forget, I do anyway, what life was like before we had that constant contact and need to be always on and solving and interacting.
For sure.
And 1 hour is hardly enough, right? I mean, that's what you can fit in, but it's hardly enough.
Oh, no. I mean, I'm sure imagine what it would be like to have more time like that. But I'll take it. It's great. It's great. And I love a good exercise class.
Good. All right. This whole little podcast is about the little things. Are there any other little things in your life that just feel meaningful aside from Pilates? Are there things that you're recognizing with your kids or moments you are in your life or little things that you sit back and observe that are like, this means something to me?
I try to take note of the moments and the days, even if they're busy and like crazy, but those moments and days where you're like, I already miss this. Like, I'm already nostalgic for this day because it doesn't even have to be exceptional in any way other than just, it was like a great feeling. And it's a feeling and it's not a thing. It's just that feeling and those little things that it makes you appreciate, I think, in the moment how great things are. And it's so corny sounding, but I really try to hold on to that appreciation and that recognition. And even if it's in the form of already missing it, which feels sort of sad, I am like, it's really a good moment. And those are, I think, to me, are the little things that make me feel good and grateful.
It's important because life is chaos. And so just missing the moments and appreciating the moments are all you need to do you'll hold on to them and you're going to continue to build those in your life naturally.
For sure. And when you miss something, it's really good. Maybe that's why it like triggers something, because it's like, that was it was great. And I recently was with some of my, one of my best friends and her daughter, and we all had this crazy day together. And it was in the moment we were like, we went to Disneyland, and it's so exhausting and so insane. And I was like, my children, oh my God. Like, and the next day I was like, oh my God, I miss it already. Like that was really fun. It was great. And so I think that when you miss something, it was good. And those are the little moments in life that are totally impossible to define other than that feeling. So
perfection.
That's it for me.
Perfection. Well, my dear, this has been such a great conversation for me. I really love how thoughtfully you bring people together, whether it's through art, through community, the way you lead, the way you parent. Thank you for sharing your story with me. And before we go, can we do a little quick rapid fire?
Oh, yes. Okay. Let's see how I do.
You're on.
Okay.
What's always in your bag?
My phone. Ugh.
At least it's in your bag.
Or it is my bag now. Yeah.
City energy or quiet landscape?
City energy.
I knew you were going to say that. There's nothing like it. What's your morning ritual?
Immediately making a coffee. First thing. On an empty stomach. I'm doing it all wrong, I know, but it is what I look forward to. And then hopefully getting up before my kids, and hopefully I actually like getting up when it's still like a little dark, like sunrise, especially in LA. It's the only way to stay on top of anything.
Yeah, you're on the opposite end of your spectrum, right?
Oh, I'm already late. I'm late for New York. Late. Yeah. Sunrise, I'm already late.
Well, you can find Casey at Art Production Fund and at Casey Fremont on Instagram. Thank you, dearest.
Thanks, Jen. See you soon.
Thanks, Jude, again. See you soon. Thank you for joining me on The Little Things. I hope today's conversation inspires you to notice your little things. Life is full of them, and sometimes they're the ones that make the biggest difference.